Say, what's cracking, YouTube? It's your boy 16 to life, and I'm back like I'm on a pro violation. Yard down. Now, for those of y'all that's new to my page, in 1994, I got arrested. I was eventually sentenced to 16 years plus life, and I served 24 years straight in the California prison system. So I definitely got some good prison knowledge, and I definitely got some good prison insight, and I definitely got some good street insight. Let's hop right up into this video, man. So, unfortunately, I'm pretty sure we've all heard the news by now that Crip has been arrested. So from what I'm hearing, right, that he had got arrested a while back, and it was a state charge, but unbeknownst to him, the feds was also preparing a charge against Crip, right? And so shout out to Blood on the Razor Wire, Chad Marks. That's where I got this information from, or at least a bit of this information. He has a prison channel. He done a lot of time in the feds. He's a litigator, and so I defer to him on this situation, right? And so yes, according to what he said, and I believe he had researched and got some paperwork, pretty much Crip was caught with a gun and some bullets, which is known as a ghost gun. And due to that situation there, the feds pretty much filed a case on him, right? Now, when you're a known felon, you're not allowed to possess any weapons, right? And so, due to the fact that he got caught with a weapon, the state can either pick the charge up or the feds can pick the charge up. And so it looks like that's what the feds have done, right? And so, yeah, he's in some pretty serious charges, right? Or excuse me, he's in some pretty serious trouble, right? It reminds me of a time when I was in Montana, and this individual, he shot another dude in the city of Billings. He was an ex-felon with a gun. The dude he shot refused to testify against him, and so the state dropped the charges, but the feds still picked the case up, and I believe he ended up getting about 15 years, right? And so the state can always, the feds can always come in if it's a federal charge if they want, and they can supersede the state. And so to me, it's deeper than that, right? You know, a lot of people are talking about mental health issues, about C-Mac having and this and that, right? And it's just a sad situation, because by me periodically seeing his YouTube channel and just seeing his numbers, I can imagine that he was making extremely good money. It seemed like he finally had hooked up with China Mac. They was doing some things, putting some content together, and they was getting good numbers and making good money. When I seen C-Mac get released from jail or prison a few months back, you know, to be honest, man, I was hoping that he would not get out and come with the shenanigans. I was hoping that maybe going to prison had kind of changed his mindset, you know, and I was hoping he would not get out dissing other gang members and stuff like that, but unfortunately that's what he did, right? I know a lot of dudes, or a lot of people, especially outside the state of California, see that guy as a funny guy, you know, a jokester, maybe even a clown. He definitely is an individual who turned his 15 minutes of fame into 15 years, you know, just to use a term, 15 months, you know, it was definitely longer than 15 minutes. I definitely didn't think that he'd be around this long, right? But he found a way to wiggle through the system and get paid. And so I was hoping that when he got out, he wouldn't go back to them shenanigans. Because as I was saying, for those outside of California who may see the guy as a joke and as a clown, a funny character or whatever, what he has tattooed on his head is extremely serious, right? It's extremely serious. So serious to the point that maybe a year or so ago, or maybe whenever whenever he first started becoming extremely visible on YouTube, I had the opportunity to interview him. I passed because me being around gang members, being caught up deeply in a gang culture, being around individuals from his area, individuals from the area that he beefs with, it just wasn't worth it to me, right? Because like I said, man, what he has on his head is serious. You know, some of the things he says is extremely serious in the gang culture, and there are people out there who would love to catch that dude slipping so they can do something bad to him, right? And so for me, it wasn't worth the few dollars I would have made from the interview to potentially even slowly, and even a small, even in just a small way, insert myself into his issue. Because okay, I may have interviewed the dude, and he's gonna get up there with his theatrics. I probably would have had to delete a lot of stuff and edit a lot of stuff, but there still may have been people who happened to see me out and about and be like, oh yeah, that's that dude that interviewed that cat that was disrespecting the homies, and so on and so forth, right? And so I say all that to say that due to the things that he says, due to the way he carries himself as a gang member, he pretty much has no choice to get caught slipping. He pretty much doesn't have a choice and cannot get caught slipping, and he must keep a weapon around him, right? I don't even fully, I'm sure somebody has tried to enlighten China Mac about the situation, but I'm not even quite sure how, if China Mac is fully aware of how much he risks his own health and safety even hanging with C-Mac in some of these places that they be at, because they be out and about. It's not like C-Mac is ducking. C-Mac is out, he's here, he's there. But like I said, just due to the way he carries himself, some of the things he says is extremely disrespectful in the LA gang culture. And I'm sure, you have many people out there who would love to try to harm that dude if they had the opportunity, right? And so like I said, to me, it was just a little bit sad almost, to the fact that this dude got out and hopped right back in the gang banging culture. Because like I said, looking at his numbers, seeing the viewers that he had, seeing the subscribers that he had, I could definitely tell that this dude was making nice money with this YouTube stuff, right? But and then who knows, I hear a lot of people talking about C-Mac has to have smarter people around him and this and that. But at the end of the day, whether he does have mental health issues or not, C-Mac is his own man, right? And so unless you happen to be in that circle that he has, who knows what they're telling him? They may be telling him to leave all that stuff alone, and he may just not be listening, right? But now, unfortunately, he has got himself caught up in an extremely dangerous predicament that's going to jeopardize his freedom for the next few years. Now, like I said, I've done all my time in the state. I've never been to the federal system, which is an entirely different beast, right? And according to Chad from Blood on the Razor Wire, they may potentially hit him with what's known as the ACCA, which is basically the Armed Career Criminal Act. So basically, he's a repeat offender, having weapons. And he went and outlined all his charges, all the times he had got caught with weapons and stuff like that. And like I said, you have one time to become a felon, and then you no longer have the right to have a firearm on you. So he's got caught several times with firearms, and all those times was violations. And so it's not looking good for him, man. It's not looking good. And so now who knows how much time he may get. He may end up getting 10 years. Some people saying that he's facing a mandatory minimum, which means that the judge's hands are tied. And even if the judge wanted to give him 2 years, say if the judge says, okay, you know what, you're a nice fella, man, I don't really think you are a dangerous individual, so even though your case carries 15 years, I'm gonna give you 2 years. The judge cannot do that because he is bound by the mandatory minimum, meaning that if this dude goes to trial and loses in trial, the judge is bound. The judge has no other choice but to give that dude the amount of time that particular crime requires, unless he happens to plea bargain and take a deal, And so I'm just sitting here thinking, man, because I don't want to see nobody go to jail, right? with the exception of crooked cops. You know, yeah, I said it. I don't mind seeing y'all go to jail because you guys are, you guys should be on a higher standard, even though a lot of you guys are not. You know what I'm saying? And so if you can come use your authority to beat cricket and take away the freedom and the livelihood of people out here, I don't mind seeing you go to jail either. But outside of that, I don't want to see nobody go to jail, right? And so now, you know, like I said, just looking at his numbers, realizing the money that he's making, you know, and just the things that he potentially had access to. All that is shut down now. You know, when you go to jail, you have zero opportunities. You know, it's better to be homeless and free than locked up in jail, man, because any day that you're homeless, you have the potential to wake up and make something happen. When you're in prison, you're in jail, you can't wake up and make nothing happen. Your entire day is controlled and dictated by the guards. You know, if the guards tell you you can't go to this certain place, you not going. You know, I've seen dudes, grown men, literally in their 40s and 50s, trying to go to the law library to try to work on their case, and for whatever reason, the guards are not opening the door. You know, I remember this one dude in particular. He had a ducat, which basically means is they give you, like, if you're going to the, if you're going to the law library, if you're going to the law library on Friday, you might get a ducat Thursday night saying, okay, at 10 o'clock is your library time. For whatever reason, they didn't open his cell and let this dude out, a grown man. And he's back there like a 6-year-old kid having a tantrum, kicking on the door. Bam, 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 bam. Let me out, let me out. Bam, bam. You know, but the guards, for whatever reason, chose not to open his door. And that's just my point right there, that your every motion is controlled by the guards. You know, you're going to go where they tell you to go, and if not, they're going to put you somewhere else you don't want to be. So you have no chance of doing anything, right, when you're locked up. And so, like I said, just to potentially know what this dude had access to potentially getting in terms of, you know, financial income and just gaining things that make a life a little easier. Now he has action at none of that, right? Crip Mac could have, you know, he could have moved to another state. You know, he could have got up out of California. He could have went somewhere where his gang affiliation wouldn't have been a detriment to his potential life, right? And he still could have done the same things that he done in California in another state and would have still had a growing, lovable fan base because of who the dude was. He could have took his show on the road. You know, everybody can't take their show on the road. Crip Mac could have took his show on the road and done the same antics, have the same lingo, and done the stuff that's making his page grow, right? But now all that is put on hold. And we will have to wait and see for how long, man. But, you know, say that dude goes and gets 10 years. You know, when out of that 10 years in the feds, you have to do a large portion of that time. So if he gets 10 years, he may end up doing 7 years and 10 months, somewhere around there. But just 8 months of being locked up, 8 years being locked up puts everything that dude had on hold. But like I said, the way he lives his life in California, his gang affiliations, some of the things that he says that I'm sure other gang members find extremely disrespectful, pretty much leaves that dude with no choice but to carry a weapon. You know, I had seen a video of him earlier when he got arrested and he was talking to C-Mac, and of course he was a little worried, and who would not be worried about their freedom, not knowing how long you potentially may be incarcerated, especially when he heard that the feds were picking the case up. I think for any criminal, any gangbanger, any goon, any thug, any gangster, whatever you want to classify yourself as, if you are in a state that you don't go to the feds automatically when you get time, you know, when you can go catch state charges, when you hear that the feds pick the case up, I believe your heart just drops, you know, because the feds have a, let's say, what word am I looking here for? The feds have a vicious reputation, you know, of having an extremely high conviction rate. And I think just hearing the word feds, you know, your case has been picked up by the feds sends a extreme amount of terror in the hearts of most criminals, gang members, goons, thugs, whatever you want to classify yourself as, like I said earlier, right? And so it's an ugly situation, man. And we'll just have to sit out. We'll just have to sit and watch it play out. Which reminds me of of a quote my homie Chances used to say. If you don't want no trouble, don't act like it. And I'm not saying that he doesn't want trouble. What I'm saying is, when you put yourself in a situation that you have to surround yourself with certain things and you have to live a certain way that's illegal in order to guarantee, or at least in order to put a larger likelihood of your safety, these type of things come with the territory, man. And so, it's an ugly situation, man. Who wants to be locked up instead of being free? I don't believe there's nobody out there that really wants to do that, man. But anyway, man, it's an ugly situation. Hate to see that happen to the dude, but unfortunately, it is what it is, man. Y'all already know, it's your boy 16 to life. Resume normal program.